Hi, good evening, friends. I am Chinese Tang. Last time, I talked about some gambling experiences over the years, that is, the tragic experience, which can be regarded as a process of transformation. I probably talked about some of my own experiences. Then I think that friends who have read my experience will have two ideas. The first is that if you have not started gambling, try not to gamble. I'm telling the truth about this. Try not to gamble, because it is really hard to win money. Also, friends who are already trapped in it must calm down and think. Think about why we lose when we gamble. Why do we often lose to casinos? So today I want to spend some time talking about gambling. To find out why we often lose, what is the reason? If we find out the reasons, we will think of some corresponding methods and strategies for these reasons. Minimize the influence of these factors on us. I want to talk about two laws. The first definition is the law that the casino must win. Many friends will say that the casino he wants to draw a commission of 5%. His profit is 51% to 52%, right? Even 53%. According to the law of large numbers, the casino will eventually win. But if it is only the 1% probability, then think about it. The casino is such a big house, such a luxurious house, right? So many waiters, so many dealers, and so many electricity and water bills. Casinos still have such high taxes. You said he relies on this commission. Can he make money? Then I will give you a simple mathematical formula to calculate it. Suppose you are a player who bet 1,000. You bet 100 hands every day. It is assumed to play 300 days a year. Do you know what commission you have to give to the casino a year? You calculate it. 1,000 times 5% equals 50, and you have to give the casino 50 for each round. 100 bets a day, half the banker and half the player, half the banker and half the player. So one night, multiply by 300 days. Although your daily amount is not large, how much tax do you pay in a day? 5,050 equals 2,500. You don't seem to be very big. But what is the commission for a year? It's 750,000. This is an astronomical figure for a player who plays 1,001 bet. Let's put it this way, as long as you walk into the casino and gamble, you have to hand over the 750,000. Where does this money come from? It is taken from your principal, which is very scary. You are a small player. I think you are very lucky. I think it's great to win 50,000 or 100,000. It's already very good. But for this 750,000, do you think you can win 750,000? I don't think you can win. So this law tells us, when you gamble, the probability of losing is much higher than the probability of winning. Why do I want to tell you this law? Just to give you a shock? If we really want to gamble, we must break this law. How to break? I will tell you all later. The second law I want to talk about is Murphy's Law. I mainly talk about Murphy's Law, some applications in gambling. Murphy's Law was the American engineer Murphy in 1949 when he discovered such a law and proposed it. What is the core idea of this law? That is, if you are doing something, as long as it has the possibility of deterioration, no matter how small the possibility is, it will always happen. This is a very strange thing. For example, the banker and the player are strictly 50-50. The banker wins half and loses half is such a probability. This probability is not low. But often when 10 people come out, 8 or 9 people will lose, and only 1 or 2 will win. In fact, this is also an obvious application of Murphy's Law in casinos. Why does this happen? Scientists are also studying this thing. What is the conclusion? It is because of this possibility of failure, because one kind of human consciousness is dominant and the other is recessive. No matter how strong and confident your explicit pretense is, the hidden psychology, you cannot control it yourself. It will play a role in your actual work. As a result, the kind of less probable event will happen. We know this Murphy's Law, so how should we overcome it in gambling? How can we not be affected by this law? Next, let's talk about it in detail. Now that we know those two laws. So how do we change this casino law and Murphy's Law? Changing them will affect our actual operations. The law of the casino must win. We can control it. We can't control the number of our bets and the size of the bet, because there is no way to change the commission. Therefore, from this principle, the first principle we can follow is to reduce the number of bets. You may ask how to change the bet size. You can visit btester.xyz to view, because it can be seen from the commission. If you bet less than half, you may save more than 300,000 yuan a year, and if you bet 25 times a day, you may be more than 100,000 yuan in that year. Those hundreds of thousands of commissions are reasonable, and you can afford them at any time. In my experience, if I bet every hand, I basically lose. Go to the casino to see. Anyone who bets on every hand basically loses. So, the first principle is to reduce the number of bets. This must be followed. Next time I will talk about how I bet in actual operations. This is the first principle. The second principle. It is to set goals for loss and profit. Because Murphy's Law tells you that something you can't think of will happen. That is, if you gamble for money, you must think of the best result and lose out. Right? But since you set a profit and loss goal, for example, if I lose 50% today, I won't bet anymore. Then if I win 50%, I won't bet anymore. If you set this goal, could the law not happen to you? Because you certainly won't lose all. I lost 1/3 or 30%, or half, I just left. This Murphy's Law is of no use to you. This is the second principle. Set profit and loss goals. The third principle is to never borrow money to gamble. Most of us, many people have no money. If he wants to gamble, he must borrow it, or use a credit card. There are even some young people with online loans. Hey, many such people. Murphy's Law tells you that you just have to borrow money to gamble. The probability of you losing is more than 89%. Because you borrowed the money, your heart is too empty, and you are afraid that if you lose, you will have no money to pay it back. In this case, Murphy's Law will play a big role. So how about not letting Murphy's Law work? Very simple. For example, if you are a person who earns 100,000 a month, you can use 20,000 to 30,000 to gamble. This has little effect on your life and your work, and Murphy's Law does not affect. So after we have mastered these things, we hope that your mind will be very clear, very calm, and there will be no pressure when you really gamble. There is no pressure to do things well. So today I am mainly talking about these contents. Anyway, it is just to give you some inspiration. It is also some experience that I summed up. Maybe you have better experience. We can discuss it together. Thank you all.